Alright guys, what is going on? My name is Uppa Ward and today I'm going to be ranking the UK's biggest rivalries in football. You guys enjoyed the last tier list video I done, so I thought I'd bring you another one. The tiers are for the rivalry. We've got pure hatred, strong rivals, good rivals, meh, and irrelevant. As I always have to say with these ranking videos, it is my personal opinion. If you've got an opinion, put it down in the comments below. I want to hear what you guys are saying. Not all the rivalries are in this tier list. I didn't make this tier list myself. I just found it online. So things like Arsenal, Chelsea are not on there. Leeds, Millwall, you know, stuff like that. Then they're not on there. So before we get into this video, I want to set a like target. Well, I don't. I want someone else to do it for me. Here we go.
Hi Ollie, my name is Harvey. Your like target for this video is going to be 35 likes. Let's smash 35 likes for Ollie's video. Subscribe to Uppa Ward, and yeah.
35 likes, that is decent. I love that, Harvey. Okay, if you want to set the like goal for the next video, all you got to do is like this video, comment down below, and then DM me on either Instagram, Twitter, or Snapchat saying pick me. One more thing before we get into the video, I just want to say thank you for 250 subscribers. It seems like each week, each video, we're hitting a different target. Roll on 300 subs now, guys. Without further ado, let's just get into the ranking. So we're starting off with the Steel City derby. That is Sheffield Wednesday versus Sheffield United. Their first meeting was in 1891, where Sheffield Wednesday won 2-1, and their latest meeting ended 0-0 in March 2019. The clubs have had a total of 144 meetings between them, and the most wins have come from Sheffield United, who have got 49 wins, and Sheffield Wednesday have got 48 wins. So I think this derby goes without saying, you know, it's a big rivalry, evenly balanced game when they play, and there is pure hatred between them. So I'm going to say the Steel City derby between Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday is in pure hatred. Next up, we've got an absolute classic of the old firm derby, which is Celtic versus Rangers. The first meeting they had was in 1888, where Celtic beat Rangers 5-2, and their latest meeting came in December 2019, where Rangers beat Celtic 2-1. There's been a total of 420 meetings between these two. If that's not a rivalry, I don't know what is. And this surprised me actually. The most wins has come from Rangers. They've got 162 wins out of the 420. So I think there's no question about this rivalry. It's a brilliant watch when you watch it. You know, there's tackles flying in all the time. The fans hate each other. I'm going to put the Old Firm derby in, again, pure hatred. Next up, we've got the Manchester derby, which is Man United versus Man City. Their first meeting came when Manchester United were called Newton Heath and Man City were called St Mark's, and on that day, Newton Heath won 3-0. The Manchester derby has a total of 182 meetings between them. The most wins in this derby came from Manchester United. They have 76 wins out of the 182. But at the end of the day, I do think the Manchester derby is just a bit overhyped. It's a good football match to watch, but it's just a bit boring. I'm going to put it in meh. You're probably thinking, what, Ollie? You're going to put the Manchester derby in meh? Huh? Who are you? I'll tell you who I am, an honest guy. So I'm going to put it in meh. And if you have something to disagree with, just comment it. Just don't be horrible though. Next up, we've got a massive derby. It's the Tyne Wear derby. I hope I'm saying that right. It's between Newcastle and Sunderland. Their first meeting came in 1888, where there was no score recorded, what I could find. And their latest meeting came in March of 2016, where the game ended 1-1. They have had a total of 157 games played against each other, and they both have 53 wins. The largest victory that has happened in this derby is where Sunderland beat Newcastle 9-1 in 1908. Look, I've got facts. These two sides have quality games when they face each other. They've had historic matches, and the fans hate each other. So again, I'm going to have to put Newcastle versus Sunderland in pure hatred. Next up, we've got the Dundee derby. Dundee FC versus Dundee United. They have a no recorded first meeting. I don't know too much about this derby, so I'm not going to ramble on about it. They have a total of 171 games against each other, and Dundee United are quite the superior as they have 80 wins over them. I watched a few highlights and it looks quite a passionate game, but again, I don't know too much about them, so I can't really rank them as highly as maybe they deserve. I'm going to chuck them in with the Manchester derby and put it in meh. Okay, yeah, I don't know too much about it. Next up, we have the Merseyside derby, which is Liverpool versus Everton. Their first meeting came in 1894, where Everton tonked Liverpool 3-0. And their latest meeting was a few months ago in June 2020, where it ended 0-0. They've had a total of 234 games against each other, and Liverpool have won 93 of them. And the largest win in this derby came from Liverpool. They won 6-0 in 1935, and that still remains the largest victory in the Merseyside derby. As much as I do think it'll be a classic game game this season, especially how good Everton look, I find the Merseyside derby quite overhyped, and I think Liverpool versus Manchester United, there's a bit more hatred in that. So I'm going to put Liverpool versus Everton in good rivals. Next up, we've got the North London derby, which is Arsenal versus Spurs. Their first ever meeting, Arsenal beat Spurs 1-0, and their latest meeting, Spurs beat Arsenal 2-1. That was in 2020, I believe. They have had a total of 200 North London derbies, and Arsenal have got the most wins. They've got 82. If Harry Kane scores a goal against Arsenal this season, he'll become the top scorer in the North London derby. So I believe there's fights, there's always a good game, and I really enjoy the North London derby. I'm not going to put it in pure hatred, but Arsenal versus Spurs, I'm going to put you in strong rivals. Next up, we're going to Wales, and that is not a Welsh accent. We are going to Wales, and it's the South Welsh derby. It's Cardiff versus Swansea. Their first meeting together came in 1912, where it ended 1-1. What a boring game. And their latest meeting in January 2020 ended 0-0. What's the point? They've had a total of 109 meetings, and the most wins has come from Cardiff. They've got 44 wins. This was the first game in British history that didn't allow away fans attending because of the hooliganism. I think that alone deserves them to be in good rivals. So I'm going to put in Swansea versus Reading, not Reading, what? Swansea versus Cardiff is going to go in to good rivals. Next up, we've got the East Midlands derby, which is Derby County versus Nottingham Forest. Their first meeting came in 1892, where Forest smashed Derby 3-2. But their latest meeting in 2020 ended 1-1. So yeah, it's got worse over the years. They've had a total of 106 meetings, where the most wins has come from Forest. They've got 42 wins. It was a bit naive of me because I didn't even know they were rivals, probably because of my lack of knowledge, but I didn't even know they were rivals. Got good games, good history, good set of fans. You know, I'm going to give it good rivals. So Derby versus Forest, I'm giving you good rivals. Next up, we've got the big boys. We've got Leeds United versus Manchester United. The first meeting ended 0-0 in 1923, and the latest meeting was in 2011, where it ended 3-0 to Manchester United. Leeds versus Manchester United has had a total of 109 games between them, and the most wins has come from Manchester United. They've got 47, and Leeds have had 27. And again, the largest victory is gone to Manchester United. They beat us 6-0 in 1959. You know, is there any point to this rivalry? But at the end of the day, it is a big rivalry for Leeds, and it is now again for Manchester United. It's actually quite humble of me. I'm going to put Leeds versus Manchester United in meh, you know, because I'm quite harsh towards the other clubs. Only because it's my club, I'm not going to put us higher. Leeds versus Manchester United is in meh. Next up is the second city derby, which is Aston Villa versus Birmingham. Their first meeting came in 1879. That is like a few years back now. And there was no score recorded for it, or I couldn't find it anyway. And their latest meeting was in 2019, where Villa won 1-0, and it was that famous guy came on the pitch and hit Grealish. They've had a total of 127 meetings, where Villa have won 57 of them. The atmosphere is brilliant. The fans hate each other. It's just an old school little game, really, isn't it? Couldn't put it anywhere else but pure hatred. This is a very big game, and a game I really enjoy. So Aston Villa versus Birmingham, you're going in pure hatred. Next up, we've got the East Anglian derby. This is Ipswich Town versus Norwich. Can I say, I know I've got a lot of Ipswich fans watching, so don't take this to heart. Their first meeting came in November 1902, where again, I couldn't find a score for it. Their latest meeting was in 2019, where Norwich beat Ipswich 3-0. They've had a total of 115 competitive games against each other, and Norwich have won 47 of them. The largest victory to date is in 1998, where Ipswich beat Norwich 5-0. What a result. Ipswich haven't beat Norwich in 11 years. Okay, the last time they've done it was in 2009, where they beat them 3-2 at Portman Road. So because of that, I've got to put it in meh. Ipswich Town versus Norwich, I'm going to put it in meh, okay? I'm sorry. Next up, we've got Fulham versus Chelsea. I couldn't actually find anything apart from scores to do with this rivalry. I think this rivalry is quite irrelevant. I don't think Chelsea really see it as a rivalry, and maybe Fulham see it more. But I was reading up about it, and I think they've just got mutual weird respect for each other. They're like mates. So Fulham versus Chelsea, you'll probably agree with me, is going in irrelevant. Next up, we've got the Edinburgh derby, which is Hibs versus Hearts. The first result came in 1875, where Hearts beat Hibs 1-0. And their latest meeting came in March 2020, where Hearts again beat them 3-1. They've had a massive 325 games against each other, and Hearts have won 143 of them. This derby gets overshadowed by the old firm derby, you know, Celtic versus Rangers. It's fierce, it's passionate, and I don't really think they care about the result. It's got a sense of old-fashioned rivalry about it, so for that, I'm going to put it in strong rivals. Only a few more to go now. We've got the South Coast or the Hampshire Derby, which is Southampton versus Portsmouth. Their first meeting came in 1899 where Portsmouth beat Southampton 2-0, and their latest meeting came in September 2019 where Southampton won 4-0. They've had a total of 71 games against each other, and Southampton have won 35 of them. Again, I didn't know too much about this rivalry, but apparently it's quite big. It's their closest rivals. It's quite a dirty rivalry, and I looked back and there's quite a lot of like fights. So for me, I'm going to put it in strong rivals. It is a very good game when they play each other, and it's got a lot of history. Next up, we've got Liverpool versus Manchester United. Their first meeting came in 1884 where Liverpool won 2-0. The latest meeting in January 2020, Liverpool won 2-0 again. They've had a total of 204 meetings, but the most wins comes from Manchester United. They have 80 wins. The largest victory is actually in 1895 where Liverpool beat Manchester United 7-1. It's the rivalry of the big cities. It's the rivalries of the big clubs. You know, it's one of my favourite English derbies. I do think there is an element of pure hatred between them, but I am just going to drop them down a level. They could get pure hatred, but to me, Manchester United versus Liverpool is strong rivals. Next up, we've got the East Lancashire Derby, which is Blackburn versus Burnley. Their first meeting again came in 1884, but there was no score recorded. Their latest meeting came in 2017, where Burnley won 2-0. They've had a total of 115 meetings between them, and Burnley have won 48 of them. I don't know too much about it all. I know they have even games, passionate fans, and it is normally a good match to watch. I'm going to smack them right in the middle and just put good rivals. Next up, we've got Nottingham Forest versus Notts County. Their first meeting came in 1878, where Forest beat them 3-1. Their latest meeting was in 2011, where it ended 3-3, but Forest won 4-3 on penalties. They've had a total of 96 games against each other, and Forest are quite the superior. They've won 40 of them. They are two of the oldest clubs in football, so the rivalry has gone on for quite a long time, but as Nottingham Forest are a lot better than Notts County, the rivalry seemed a bit as a joke. So Nottingham Forest versus Notts County, you're going in meh. Next up, we do have West Ham versus Millwall. Their first game came in 1899, where Millwall beat West Ham 2-1. And their latest meeting was in February 2012, where West Ham beat Millwall 2-1. They've had a total of 99 games against each other, and this surprised me. Millwall have the most wins. They've got 38 wins over West Ham. When you talk about West Ham Millwall, you talk about hooliganism. You know, there's fights. They really actually do hate each other. So West Ham versus Millwall, you're going in pure hatred. Next up, we've got the Seaside Derby, which is Palace versus Brighton. Their first meeting came in 1920, where Palace beat Brighton 2-0. And their latest meeting came in February 2020, where Palace again beat Brighton 1-0. They have had a total of 105 meetings, where Brighton have got the most wins. They've got 40 wins, but Crystal Palace have got 39. So the next time they play each other, it'll be a big game. I personally don't like this derby, okay? I'm chucking it in irrelevant. Sorry if you support Brighton or Crystal Palace, but I just don't enjoy this rivalry. Like, I see it as a bit of a flimsy rivalry. I find it quite boring. I'm chucking it in irrelevant. I barely chucked anything in there. So yeah, Palace, Brighton, you're getting in there. The Crystal Palace versus Brighton, I'm sorry, but you're going in irrelevant. The penultimate rivalry is AFC Wimbledon versus MK Dons. They're both very new teams, so their first meeting came in 2012. They've had a total of 9 meetings. Yeah, 9. MK Dons have won 6 of them. I mean, what even is this? I've had more rivalries on online friendlies with my mates. The largest win has come from MK Dons. They beat them 3-1. Like, it's just boring. As I, and even most of you, are probably older than this derby, it's got to be an irrelevant. It's what? So AFC Wimbledon versus MK Dons, you're going in irrelevant. And the last derby is West Brom versus Wolves. Their first meeting came in 1886, where West Brom beat Wolves 3-1. They've had a total of 159 games against each other, and West Brom are actually the superior. They've won 64 out of them. Largest victory came in 1893, where West Brom hammered Wolves 8-0. So I'm just going to smack them in the middle, same as the Blackburn Burnley type thing. I don't really care about it. So West Brom versus Wolves, you're going in good rivals. So I hope you guys learned a bit about your clubs and maybe your club's rivalry in this video. To some of you, it might be quite a boring video, like, oh, you're just talking about statistics and stuff, but I enjoy it, okay? I enjoy it, so you should as well. In all honesty, give me your opinions down below. I want to know the top 3 craziest derbies in England. Again, without further ado, I've been Uppa Ward. I'll be back with a predictions video later on in the week, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Cheerio.